D.C. National Guard is totally committed to the war on drugs. We're currently supporting the anti-drug effort of the Metropolitan Police Department and the other federal law enforcement agencies. We're pleased to be a part of the overall effort to make the nation's capital a drug-free community. I think it's equally as important as members of the community that we act as a catalyst to mobilize the other resources, such as the Urban League, the Kiwanis, the Board of Trade, the Rotary Clubs, our churches and our schools, to get them becoming active participants in our overall effort.
The D.C. police gained the support of the National Guard. It signaled a new era in the battle against the illicit drug trade on the streets of the nation's capital. We lifted off tonight in a Black Hawk helicopter bound for a reconnaissance flight.
Okay, I got the roadblock.
Northwest, ground 121.7.
All right, Lieutenant, you're right on it.
Okay, I'm going to reverse course and come back and put it out the right side.
Predominantly, our mission with the Guard is the eradication and interdiction of drug traffic in the city.
The D.C. National Guard hit the streets of Washington today, boarding up crack houses in Southeast and towing confiscated vehicles from an apartment building in Northeast to a junkyard in Woodbridge, Virginia. In late September, the Guard's Emergency Operations Center set up a drug hotline to field calls from district residents about drug activity in their neighborhoods. 3 nights a week, Guard helicopters go out on surveillance missions, staffed with at least 1 police officer.
The District of Columbia National Guard has made impressive contributions to the war on drugs. But while action-oriented media coverage has focused public attention on the Guard's operational role in this critical effort, there's another side to this story. Long before committing D.C. National Guard resources to the war on drugs, Major General Calvin G. Franklin, Commanding General of the D.C. National Guard, organized extensive meetings with D.C. metropolitan area and federal law enforcement officials to propose and consolidate a coordinated plan of action.
Law enforcement agency. So it's our responsibility to get out and interface with the law enforcement agencies and let them know what we're capable of doing to provide the support that they need, who's on the front line fighting the war on drugs. They're doing an outstanding job. I think we've been successful. We've provided a lot of support to all of the law enforcement agencies, both federal and the local law enforcement agencies. We work with DEA, with the Customs, Tobacco, Firearm, and many others that you know about. I think all of you can be proud of the contribution that we're making. But equally as important, it's important that we slow down and get a good understanding as to what it is law enforcement people would like to have us do. We're not going to get out in the streets. We're not going to take the matter in our own hand, and we have zero contribution to make unless we're asked by our law enforcement personnel to come on board and provide some assistance to them, and they best know what type of support they need. So we have been working with the Park Police and other agents to make sure that we have a good understanding. I think they have an appreciation for what we can do. Today we've made it to the point where we have a memo of understanding which outlines mode of operation, what we can and can't do. Based on that, we'll develop our own strategy, provide the resources, and work through Colonel John and make it possible. Because they too have a common interest in providing support to law enforcement. And they can learn in terms of how do you go about sitting down, structure a memo of understanding that both parties can agree to. And it's not an easy task. So I want to compliment Colonel Young publicly. And Chief, your people who worked hard on this to get to where we are. And this afternoon, we're going to sign a memo of understanding so we can provide the support to the Park Police that they need. And I think we made some real progress.
General Franklin, thank you and your staff for working with us on this very, very important mission, not only as part of President Bush's war on drugs as a high priority program, but also an important mission to this nation as we look ahead for future leaders. Future leaders will be the young people that we're protecting and trying to save for future generations. So we are certainly honored and privileged to play a small part in this endeavor to try to, some way, through interdiction, education, any means at all possible, as team partners in trying to win this war on drugs. The American public deserves it, this great nation deserves it, and we're responsible to see that it happens and play our part. And you can rest assured that we'll do everything within our power to be good team players and try to promote this program. And I would like to say to you, You have our pledge that we will be good team members. We thank you for the support you've given us in the past. We thank you for the support you're about to give us in the future. Thank you, sir.
I can only echo what the chief has said. These partnerships are very important. We have worked, we're one of the unique groups in the nation capital. We wear both hats. We're federal as part of our federal mission, and we're state, which we mean we're local as we address our local mission. And we take both of them very seriously. We don't have the luxury of being a state with all the resources some of the larger states have. But we're totally committed, and we see as one of the important missions that we have is our drug mission. And the funding for the drug is federal, it's DOD, but the support primarily is for the local community. So we take that very seriously. We think we made some significant progress. We try to act as a catalyst by bringing all the other resources together, and that we can mobilize the resources within this nation capital and the dedicated professional people in the nation capital and bring their talent to bear. I think we can solve the problem. So we're making some major progress in both the demand reduction, and we're making some significant progress in the area of providing the support to law enforcement personnel. So we're pleased to do this.
Thank you very, very much.
With DOD approval and Metropolitan Police Department cooperation in hand, General Franklin moved swiftly to consolidate memorandums of understanding with federal law enforcement agencies involved in the war on drugs, including the Drug Enforcement Agency, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and the U.S. Customs Service. Each of these documents required extensive planning sessions between National Guard staff and representatives of the federal agency involved. General Franklin believed that it was critically important to convince the federal agencies that the National Guard is a thoroughly professional organization, fully capable of pulling its load in any joint effort. To ensure positive integrated teamwork and to avoid ambiguity, duplication of effort, and overlapping responsibilities, training sessions were conducted to familiarize law enforcement personnel with Guard equipment, capabilities, and procedures. Guardsmen also received an orientation on law enforcement agency operations and techniques. Here, National Guard helicopter crews are cross-training with aviation personnel of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. National Guard helicopters provided the police and other agencies with an aerial platform for surveillance, command and control, and transportation. In this training session, U.S. Customs agents are demonstrating drug detection techniques to National Guard personnel who will be helping Customs inspect incoming cargo for drugs and other contraband at Dulles Airport and the Port of Alexandria. General Franklin has taken his personal vision of the National Guard's role in the war on drugs well beyond the boundaries of the nation's capital. At Marine Corps Base Quantico, General Franklin briefed the Deputy Commandant of the Marine Corps and representatives of other federal agencies on the Guard's role in the kind of integrated joint operations that this complex challenge requires. In an effort to expand this productive cooperative model of Guard law enforcement agency interaction to the national level, General Franklin hosted a national urban anti-drug conference in Washington, D.C. Here, state adjutants general and metropolitan chiefs of police from Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Dallas exchanged ideas and experience on ways of combating the menace of drugs in their communities. A highlight of this event was a tour of the D.C. National Guard's Emergency Operations Center, EOC, from which D.C. National Guard operations in support of local and federal law enforcement agencies are controlled. Secretary William Bennett is familiar with and applauds the D.C. Guard's efforts.
The Guard is doing good, important work. I think they can do more of it, and I'd like to see this program pushed along. I understand that General Franklin shares my concern, and he intends to intensify Guard efforts in the district.
General Franklin has worked long, hard, and successfully to spearhead a joint integrated effort among all of the local and federal law enforcement agencies involved in the war on drugs. And that investment of his personal time and the commitment of the men and women of the D.C. National Guard is paying big dividends. So, while it's the helicopters and guardsmen in action that you see on the television screen, don't forget that it was painstaking, coordinated planning and cooperation that put them there.